Oh, hey! You look terrific. It's really good to see you. Can I just say that whatever you're doing, it is doing wonders for your complexion. I'm a little jealous and I might need some tips. But I just wanted to say, fantastic to see you. And I think I have a little bit of a crush. So, moving on. Hi, I'm Mike Serber, and we've got a couple new patrons. In fact, number 37 is Kim. Kim is our 37th patron, and that is my favorite number. And when I first set up my Patreon, they had me pick an arbitrary number of like my first tier goal, and I was like, oh, my first goal is to get 37 patrons. Obviously, I'd love to get 1,000 patrons, and that would mean 1,000 people were into the music, and also I could quit my day job, which would be great. But super happy to like 37 was. I was like, if I have 37 people who tune in for the music I'm putting out, that'd be awesome. So I set a goal of my first goal was 37, and we just hit it. So welcome, Kim, and welcome to the rest of you. I will be sending you personal messages. But when I set that goal, I said when I hit 37, I'm going to make a cool Dear Mr. Henshaw sticker and send it out to all my patrons. So that is coming soon. I will be busting out a cool sticker to send to you just as a thank you. And so that's coming soon. So I'm sure most of you know my solo project is called Dear Mr. Henshaw. Usually I play guitar, play drums with my feet, sing songs that I wrote, kind of like folk Americana genre, acoustic rock and roll, that kind of thing. But Sons of Guns is a four-piece kind of indie rock band that I've been involved with since 10 plus years now when I lived in Seattle. And the other three guys in that band are still like my best buddies. And quick story, speaking of the pandemic, our fourth full-length album that we worked on for like 2 years called Emerald Evergreen, we finished it and it was released on March 12th, 2020. And that was the day our album release tour was to kick off. I don't know if you remember March 12th, but it was literally the day that like the mandates came down where public events, at least in Washington and Oregon, were minimized and then shut down completely. So our album could not have been more poorly timed to be released as far as touring to support it. Usually when you make an album, you tour, you play as many shows as you can to support the album. And luckily we live in a day and age where people can just listen to it on Spotify. We sold some CDs and have mailed those to people. Certainly, if you have not heard the album Emerald Evergreen, or if you want a hard copy of it, let me know and I'll make sure you can get that. But it was really weird because right after that, we just didn't know what to do with ourselves, but we wanted to stay connected. See, because two of our members of Sons of Guns live in Seattle. One of them lives in La Grande in Northeast Oregon, which is about 6 hours from where I live in Eugene in Western Oregon. So we're a little spread around. It takes at least two guys driving at least 6 hours for the four of us to get together in the same place. So when the quarantine happened, we just got to work learning how to collaborate tracks, share ideas back and forth, and we started recording songs. All of us just using GarageBand. Like sometimes I would come up with a song idea, record my guitar and vocals, send it, then EJ would lay down bass, and Greg would lay down some vocals. We also had some really interesting ones where EJ just sent a bass line, and then I wrote a guitar part around it, and Seth laid drums on top of it. Or Seth came up with a song where Seth, our drummer, came up with a song where it was ukulele and drums, and then I wrote words and lyrics around that. So we were doing it just to stay busy, just to stay connected, to have somebody to talk to be able to meet twice a week on Zoom, and just something to ground us and stay creative and productive. But before we knew it, we had 14 songs that we're really excited about. We're still working on mixing them, but I think we're gonna end up releasing a like a quarantine. Or we're not gonna call it the quarantine album, but like an album after spending most of 2019 in the studio, in a great studio in Seattle, Brad Kaminsky and Jessica Kaminsky's Vertigo Productions. Brad produced the album, and it's incredible, top-notch studio, and we got it sounding exactly how we wanted it to sound. And after that, moving on to just a very intimate, down and dirty home recordings, basically. Like, you can almost hear that these were recorded with each guy in their house. Like, Seth was recording drums in his apartment under the staircase, trying not to be too loud. And the challenges that presented made a certain kind of sound, and like a desperate sincerity and honesty, and just a sound that we never could have created in any other situation. And so we're still working on that. It's going to be a little bit before it becomes a publicly released album, or we figure out how we're going to do that. But that's the benefit of being one of the beautiful patrons who I'm so thankful for you guys supporting me in this kind of stuff. I am ready to start sharing some of these things with you. And so you're going to get some first looks at these things. And again, hopefully they'll get polished up and sound a little better. But the first song I'm going to share with you it's called Lucifer, You've Got My Number. And this was, actually, I was just talking about it a minute ago. This was a song that Seth wrote a ukulele part. He just wrote no vocals. He just recorded ukulele, but it had a real solid kind of a verse, chorus, verse, bridge, outro structure. And in about as spontaneous and free flow as I get, just came up with some words really fast. And it was one of those rare times where the first draft is the best draft. And then EJ added bass, Greg added banjo. It just came together in a really fun way. So I wanted to share that song with you. It was definitely like a stream of consciousness of how I was feeling. This was probably May, I think. So when I wrote the words, it was very much like still reeling from the surreal, bizarre world we're living in, where I just felt like kind of a prisoner in my own home. I felt very free, but also very locked up at the same time. And, well, we've all been going through this together. So this was my vomitous reaction to that. But I'm super proud to be playing music with these guys, and I hope you enjoy this track. We called it the uke tune for the longest time, because it's probably, it's definitely the first time that Seth threw out a ukulele tune. I didn't even know he knew how to play ukulele. But it's after I wrote the lyrics, it turned into Lucifer, You've Got My Number. One of those classy songs where it's in parentheses, Lucifer, in parentheses, You've Got My Number. So here is that song for you. And I've got a lot more to come. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for the new folks who signed up. And you all 37 of you, you are my lifeblood. And you are literally the reason some days that I can answer the question, why am I even doing this? So thank you for that. It means more than you will ever know. I hope you're well. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime with questions, comments, concerns, or just if you need a friend, if you are lonely and need to chat, if you're going through a hard time, If you have any ideas, if you just want to share something, if you're feeling kooky, whatever, send me your favorite song, send me a thought of the day. Just reach out if you need to. But I appreciate all of you. And here is a song off of what could quite possibly become an album from Sons of Guns. We might release 2 albums in 2020, a studio album and then a very, very homemade album. But here's a rough cut of Lucifer, You've Got My Number. And I'll post the lyrics below too. All right. Take care, folks. I'll talk to you soon.